question is, why do marriages fail? Marriages start wonderfully. We have beautiful weddings. We have all the excitement on the wedding day. And we are so happy. And you see two people who are so much in love. And then all of a sudden, you hear that the marriage is breaking. And the question that people keep asking is that, why do marriages fail? And that's what I'll try to answer today. Normally, when we talk about why do marriages fail, people's mind moves to money, sex, poor communication, and those other issues that we see around. But I want to let you know that those issues we see around are just symptoms of the real disease. And so today I would talk about some of the diseases that are making marriages fail, and I hope that through this message, God will bless you and you will be able to have a better marriage. The first one, and this one is really for those who are married, who are planning to get married. A lot of marriages fail because the base on which we choose our partners are wrong. A lot of us choose, the major reason we choose our partners are on outward appearance, money, fame. Those are the three things that drive us to choose our partner. And when your choice of a partner are moved by these three main things, outward appearance, or money, or fame, you are running a risk. Because these three things are not enough to run a marriage. These three things will not assure you of a better marriage. Just because the person has a fine body, has a Coca-Cola shape, you decide that you marry that person, you are not going to be assured of a happy marriage. The person may have money today. The person may have fame. He's somebody's daughter. He's somebody's son. And so I want to marry that person. You cannot be assured of a happy marriage that way. The two major things that you need to base your choice of a partner on, and a lot of us fail to do that, is character and values. Character and values. What is the character of the person? What is the habits of the person? And also, what are the values of the person? What does the person believe in? What is a person's belief of God in the first place? What is a person's view on domestic violence? What is a person's view on a lot of critical matters that run? What is a person's view on children? You need to have somebody who you share common values with. You need to have somebody whose basic character you can tolerate. So the major things that we should have based our choices on are character and values. But a lot of us base it on outward appearance, money, and fame. So that's the first reason why very beautiful marriages that we see end up failing. The second reason that marriages fail is a number of have wrong expectations of marriage. We believe that marriage is a fun trip. We think that marriage is supposed to be all excitement and lovey-dovey, everything is going to go smoothly. But marriage is not like that. We have read a lot of storybooks and we've watched a lot of soap operas, and we think that marriage is supposed to be an exciting walk, just full of excitement. But marriage is not like that. Marriage is work. Marriage is a responsibility you are taking on. Marriage is a disciplined sport, and I'll talk more about that. Marriage is not just a fun trip. It's not an activity for small boys and girls. It is a very serious activity. Another expectation that people happen to enter marriage with is that my spouse will change wrong habits in marriage. That is not going to happen. Marriage in itself does not change anybody. Nobody just changes because they are married. And it is necessary that we know that if there are bad habits, we deal with it now. And if we cannot deal with it, if we cannot find a solution to those bad habits, then we decide to quit now than to enter into marriage with the expectation that your spouse will change in marriage. That person will not change. We also have expectations that our partners will meet all our needs. We get into marriage and we expect that every day that we want to have sex, when we look for money, everything we want, our partners will give to us. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Your partner will not meet all your needs. There are times that because of health considerations and other things, it could take you for a number of weeks that you will not even have sex. And we have these expectations that my partner will do this for me, my partner will do that for me. It is not going to happen all the time. We have an expectation that our partners, because our partners say they are in love with us, they will do everything right. We have an expectation that our partners will do everything right. No partner is perfect. No partner will do everything right. There are things that you would have to manage and pray and hope that that partner will improve. And like I said earlier, you need to know the things you can tolerate and the things you cannot tolerate. So there are certain things, very minor things, that you may be able to tolerate, you may be able to manage. When you marry, you should not expect that those things will disappear. If the thing is major, you should know that you are heading for trouble. The third reason why marriages fail is that we want freedom without bonds. As we grow as children into adulthood, our idea is that when we grow, when we become adults, when we grow, we'll be able to do whatever we want to do. We want a life where we can choose to come home when we want to come home. We want a life that we can do whatever we want to do. But marriage doesn't allow that. And so for some of us, when we lose that freedom, when we lose that level of unbridled freedom, we start to feel frustrated. We are searching for freedom where we can do whatever we want to do. We are searching for freedom that when we want to stay out and do whatever we want to do, want to be with our secretary, we want to do whatever, we want to have the freedom to do it. But it is not possible. It is not possible to do that in marriage. Marriage is a system with rules. Some people have said that I need to do what makes me happy. I need to do what makes me happy. I want to do what makes me happy will not make you happy in marriage. Marriage is not just about your happiness. And if all of us decided to do what makes us happy, I don't think even the world will run. Because I may want to pick your phone. Somebody may want to even have an affair with your wife to be happy. Is that what we are allowing? You cannot do what makes you happy. You need to do what is right. And it is that search for freedom, that search for freedom that we don't want any bounds, that makes a lot of us frustrated. Marriage has rules. Marriage, you are limited in what you have to do. You have to, whenever you are making any action or decision, you need to consider other people. You cannot just run marriage as free and decide to do whatever you want to do. And when that happens, a lot of us get frustrated and we want to even give up. The fourth reason why marriages fail is our reactions to wrongs. A lot of us react to wrongs with wrong. And whenever you take that path, you are creating a chain reaction of trouble. He puts the Pepsodent at the wrong place. So I would also not talk to him for 1 week. He didn't come home early last night. So for the next 3 weeks, I won't let him touch me. And then he also decides that if you won't let me touch me, I will not even come to the house early any longer. I would find somebody outside to spend my evenings with. One thing leads to another. And at the end of the day, the marriage is totally destroyed. And sometimes, all we see is that what started this chain reaction was just Pepsodent not being put at the right place. So our reactions to wrong, fighting wrong with wrong, is like trying to put off fire with fire. We are so eager to react. We are so eager to hurt back because we've been hurt. That is not going to help us. We want to find something to punish our partner. And sometimes people go to the extent of all manner of revenge, even to the extent of adultery, to point something to their partner. You are not going to have a marriage that will succeed doing that. Your marriage will be destroyed. At the end of the day, you will regret it. We need to be patient when our partners wrong us. We need to be careful how we react when our partners wrong us. We need to know that love conquers a multitude of sins. And we need to put our love in action when our partners wrong us. That is the time you have to pray for your partner. That is the time you have to speak love to your partner and show your partner that your partner can rise again. But if it becomes, I will hurt you an eye for an eye, you are on the path to destruction. And that will surely destroy any marriage. The fifth thing I want to share with you today that destroys marriages is that a number of us get distracted from working on our marriage. We get married, it's just the two of us. We have time for each other. We are doing everything for each other. And then with time, we get the children in. Job, you get a raise at the office. You get promoted at the office. The workload increases. Now we have social media pulling you away. You are in 100 groups. And things are pulling you away from working on your marriage. You have friends, you have family, you have become a grown person now. There are commitments in the family that they want you to do. And then what happens is that we get distracted from working on our marriages. Marriage, you can't do it without constantly working on your marriage. You never say you have arrived. There are marriages that has gone all the way to 25 years and the marriage has been broken. Some people go all the way to 30 years and the marriage breaks. You never stop working on your marriage. Read books on your marriage. Read marriage books from the right authors. A lot of us don't want to read anything. We don't want to buy any marriage book. We think we are married and that is it. We don't want to learn again. There are things that change every single time. And it is good to constantly be working. constantly be working on your marriage. We need to invest in our marriage. That means that you need to attend seminars. You need to work on your marriage. You need to constantly keep working on your marriage. It is necessary that you continue working on your marriage. And the sixth point is that we fail to protect our marriage as a precious item. Marriage is precious. If you find marriage as precious, then you need to protect it. Some of us talk too much to the wrong people. Everything about our marriage is out there. We are discussing with a friend, we are discussing with family. We are discussing one thing with one person and we are discussing with the other. Marriage will not be fun that way. You will not enjoy marriage. Your marriage will not be protected if every minute you are out there and you want to share your marriage with people. Your marriage stories. And my husband has done this. And how much does your husband give you as job money? What does he? How many times do we have sex? How do you have? It will not help you. If you need to talk to the right people. Talk to people who are trained on this matter. And talk to godly people. Not just mere friends or social media and throw your matters up and everybody is advising you. The devil can also advise and it can destroy your marriage. You need to protect your marriage from intruders. There are certain people who don't want your marriage to work. You need to know them and protect your marriage from them. There are certain people, whenever they come to your house, it's trouble. You need to protect your marriage from those people. And it is necessary you find that your marriage is precious and therefore you protect your marriage from those people. A seventh reason why marriages fail is that a lot of us kick God out of our marriages. And I know a lot of people who, even as we share these messages, have said that you people keep talking about God. Marriage, it's just the two of us. That is not true. Marriage is not just the two of us. Marriage also has a God part. There is a need for God at the center of marriage. God plays a key role in marriage. And when the two of you do not bring God as a center, you are putting a burden on your lives that would definitely fail. You are putting a burden on yourselves because there are three things God does in marriage. And nobody can do those three things well. The first thing God does in marriage is that God is the ultimate counselor. And when Jesus was leaving, he said, I'll send you the Holy Spirit, the counselor. God is the counselor. God counsels us than anybody can. And that's why sometimes when I take the title of counselor, I take it with a lot of fear, a lot of care, because the ultimate counselor is God. He's the one who understands all things and can bring us to that knowledge. In the story of Matthew chapter 1, when God spoke to Joseph concerning Mary, God was counseling Joseph. Other than that, Joseph would have put Mary away. Mary most probably had said all the things she could say. But when God intervened and God spoke to Joseph, the matter was resolved. God is the ultimate counselor. So when you cannot convince your spouse about a matter, go to God in prayer. When you are unsure about an action to take, go to God in prayer and call God in. Another thing that God does in marriage is that God convicts us. God, sometimes you don't even know what your spouse is doing. So you cannot even talk about it. But if you are praying for your spouse, if you are praying for God to intervene in your marriage, you will find that God can even speak to your spouse. We know the story of even Paul on the road to Damascus. Jesus met him. And when Jesus meets your spouse, what you cannot convince your spouse about, God will convince your spouse about. So bring God into your marriage. Your husband may be doing all the things that are wrong. Your wife may be doing all the things that are wrong. You have spoken about it. It's enough. Call God into the matter. Let God speak to your spouse and be patient and have faith. And God will speak to your spouse. So that is another role that God plays. And thirdly, God is the grace giver. All the many things we say, and somebody told me some time back, hey, the messages you are sending us every day a different matter. Then this marriage too is some complex thing. Yes, it's a complex thing. I wish there was just one message I could give you and it could solve all marriage problems. But there is nothing like that. It's a complex institution. And so there are so many different things that you have to achieve. You have to be faithful. You have to forgive. You have to be honest. You have to do all those things. You cannot do all that on your own strength. You need the grace giver. And the grace giver is God. It is necessary that you bring the grace giver in your marriage, so that he will bring grace, the grace to be able to keep your vows, you and your spouse. And it's a constant prayer you need to be saying. A prayer you constantly need to say, that God give my spouse grace to keep his or her vows. Without grace, we cannot do it. Without grace, you cannot do this marriage thing. You will suffer to do it. You will fail too many times. And if you don't take care, you will destroy your marriage. But with the grace of God, you will be able to do it. So don't kick God out of your marriage. Let God be a central piece of your marriage. And you will see a different marriage. So I have shared with you 7 things that make marriages fail.